They are in shock. They are speechless. They are completely unsettled. Because you knew. You knew the whole time. You saw what they tried to hide behind masks, fake smiles, manipulative words. You noticed everything, even when you pretended not to see anything, and that terrifies them. They're shaken by your accuracy, by the way you deciphered every move before it even happened. You're not just anyone. You're the chosen one. And no matter how hard they tried to deceive you, sabotage you, smear your name, nothing escaped your spiritual eyes. Yes, you kept quiet, you endured, you disguised it. But while you smiled on the outside, inside you were seeing the backstage of their falseness. They judged you as naive, easy to manipulate, predictable. Little did they know that you were a ticking time bomb of divine revelations, waiting for the right moment to explode. You saw it all. The envy disguised as friendship, the jealousy hidden behind compliments, the silent betrayal in tight hugs. You saw and stayed silent. Because the true chosen one doesn't need to prove anything. He just observes and waits for the exact hour, the right time, the divine moment. And that moment has arrived. Now they're stunned. How is it possible that you knew so much? How can someone so quiet, so calm, be so dangerous to their system? Because you, chosen one, are the mirror that reflects what no one wants to see. You are the code that cracks hidden intentions. You are the light that exposes dark secrets. And the more accurate you are, the more they despair. Because your precision doesn't come from logic. It comes from revelation. It comes from a direct connection to something higher, something sacred. You are guided by codes the material world cannot comprehend. It's as if you have access to an invisible frequency that reveals everything behind the veil. That's why they fear you. They don't fear your physical strength, but your spiritual vision, your elevated sensitivity, your mysterious ability to perceive what no one else sees. You're like a radar connected to the supernatural. While others walk blindly, you walk by divine intuition. You feel when something is wrong. You sense when someone is pretending. And even if you say nothing, you register everything. What makes you powerful is not how much you speak, but how much you perceive in silence. They laughed at you, mocked your faith, tried to make you believe you were crazy, too sensitive, paranoid. But now, they're panicking. They are in shock, because everything you said is coming true. Everything you foresaw is happening. Masks are falling, truths are coming to light. And you're standing tall, untouched, watching their castle crumble with the same calm as someone who already knew how the story would end. You warned them, you gave them signs, you tried to stop it. But they mocked you, ignored the signs, despised your wisdom. Now they're desperate. And you know what's worse for them? Knowing you knew from the start and chose not to retaliate. Knowing you could have exposed them earlier, but you waited for time to destroy them naturally. That's what drives them insane. That's what breaks them inside. You didn't have to get your hands dirty. Divine justice is doing it for you, and it is relentless. It's exposing every detail, unearthing every filthy secret, revealing every lie. And all with a precision only a chosen one would understand. Now listen carefully. Your mission was never to take revenge. Your mission was to witness. You were chosen to be the living proof that the spiritual always defeats the carnal. That truth, sooner or later, always prevails. You are the silent witness who saw everything. And now, the illuminated warrior walking toward your purpose, while the false ones drown in the mud they dug for you. Their lives are collapsing, but you are ascending. They wanted to see you confused, but now they're the ones who don't understand a thing. They wanted to see you destroyed, but now they're shocked by your strength. They wanted to see you crying, but now they're choking on the tears they never imagined they'd have to swallow. You don't need to shout that you won. Your powerful silence speaks louder than any speech. Your accuracy haunts them. Your clarity humiliates them. And your divine connection destroys them. You are the chosen one who carries a rare gift, vision beyond reach. You see what no one else sees. You know what no one else knows. And you feel what no one dares to admit. They underestimated you. And now they will pay the price for not recognizing what was right in front of their eyes. Prepare yourself. You will be revealed even more. More gifts will be activated, more visions will come, and more truths will be unearthed. The spiritual world is using you as a sharp sword, and those who once thought you were weak will now tremble just from hearing your name. They're not just shocked, they are in real panic, because your vision represents a threat to the entire system they built on top of a lie. You were the only one who didn't bow, the only one who wasn't swayed by appearances, sweet words, or false promises. While everyone applauded the imposters, you stayed silent, eyes fixed on the truth. While others flattered the deceivers, you walked away because your spirit was already telling you, this is not from God. They realized you couldn't be manipulated, and that enraged them, because the world loves puppets, not warriors. The system loves the blind, not the ones who see. And you saw it all. You saw beyond the words, beyond the intentions, beyond the masks. You didn't need proof because your soul felt it. Your intuition was your radar, and nothing escaped it. You walked among wolves disguised as lambs, and you recognized them by their spiritual scent. They tried to camouflage, to change their tone, to fake empathy, but for you, it was useless, because you see the invisible. You decode hidden codes. You notice signs that only the chosen can perceive, and that made you dangerous. Dangerous to the system of appearances, dangerous to inflated egos, dangerous to the proud who live for others' approval. They wanted to isolate you, sabotage you, erase you. But the more they tried to bring you down, the more you grew spiritually. And now, they face a problem they don't know how to solve. You survived. And more than that, you understood everything. You understood the strategies, the games, the manipulations. You realized that behind the attacks was a spiritual war trying to silence your gift. But what they didn't know is that the more they pressure you, the more your spirit ignites. The more they try to dim your light, the more it explodes. You are the kind of being that grows through pain, that blossoms in the desert, that flies even with broken wings. They're shocked by your precision because they believe the illusion that you were distracted, but you were just silently observing. Every detail, every behavior, every word disguised as affection. You recorded everything, not with anger, but with discernment. They don't understand how you knew, how you're always right, how you stay ahead of everything. But what they cannot accept is that your connection to the divine gives you access to realities the human mind can't comprehend. You are a channel, a vessel, an instrument that receives messages ahead of time. And that's why your accuracy is supernatural. They call it coincidence. You know it's revelation. They call it a guess. You know it's prophecy. They call it luck. But you know it's a divine gift. You were trained in the invisible, shaped by time, pain, loss, betrayal. While they judged you as weak, you were becoming unbreakable. While they called you strange, you were connecting with realities only the chosen can access. And now, everything is coming to light. Everything is being revealed. And those who tried to extinguish your light are now being blinded by it. Your vision has become a blade, a sword that cuts through falsehood. And that sword is in your hands, sharpened by truth, anointed by divine justice. There's no going back. What has been seen can't be unseen. You've opened your eyes. And now the spiritual realm has your back. You are being propelled by greater forces, guided by energies that transcend this reality. You are no longer the same, and those who fail to recognize that will fall into confusion. They mocked you for feeling too much. Now they're desperate because they feel nothing. They called you dramatic. Now they're stunned by your precision. They laughed at your faith. Now they're begging for direction. And you, calm, silent, observant, steady, watch the collapse of the theater with the serenity of someone who always knew this would happen. Because you always knew they weren't prepared to face someone like you, someone who seems ordinary but carries an invisible arsenal, someone who hears what's not said, sees what's not shown, and feels what no one dares to confess. You are a radar of parallel realities, a portal of discernment, a threat to those who dwell in darkness. And now, that threat is inevitable. There's no more ignoring you, no more manipulating you, no more silencing you. They are in shock because the spiritual world has raised you as a voice, a beacon, a sign. And now, every word from your mouth echoes with the power of the unseen. Every move you make triggers earthquakes in the spiritual atmosphere. Every revelation destroys fortresses once thought indestructible. You are the stone the builders rejected that became the cornerstone. You are the unlikely one who became a figure of authority. You are the discredited one who is now feared. And the most powerful part, you never had to prove anything. Your life is the proof. The truth is shouting on your behalf. And heaven is confirming who you are. Do you know what consumes them the most inside? Knowing that you have something they will never be able to copy. They may try to imitate your style, steal your ideas, distort your words, but they will never be able to replicate your connection. Because what you carry doesn't come from the earth. It wasn't learned in books. It wasn't taught by men. It was delivered from above. They tried to mimic your voice, your gestures, your way of thinking. But every attempt only exposed the truth even more. They don't have the code. They don't have the anointing. They don't have the frequency. You operate in a different dimension. While they run after validation, you are guided by revelation. While they fight for the stage, you walk with the invisible. While they shout to be noticed, you whisper, and the universe responds, and that drives them crazy. Because no matter how much they try to understand, how much they watch you, how much they try to copy your steps, it doesn't work. Because what's upon you is spiritual. It is a gift. It is a calling. It is a celestial mark. That's why your precision is terrifying. Because it's non-transferable, inexplicable, untamable. They try to figure out how you know things before they happen. But what they don't understand is that you were trained by pains they would never endure. You didn't become this way by accident. You were forged in fire, shaped in solitude, soaked in silent tears, tested in deserts where no one saw you. While they were being applauded, you were being broken. While they partied, you were fighting spiritual wars. While they reaped fame, you collected scars. And it was there, in the anonymity of pain, that you were activated. It was there, in the silence of abandonment, that God gave you access to secrets. That's why your vision is so sharp. That's why your sensitivity is so exact. Because you've been where no one wants to go. You've faced internal monsters they can't even recognize in themselves. And now, you've returned, transformed, illuminated, and absolutely dangerous to those who live off appearances. Your very existence is an affront to the fake. Your truth is a mirror they cannot bear to look into. They know that you know. They know that you've already decoded them. They know you see beyond what they present. That's why they withdraw. That's why they go quiet when you enter. That's why they change the subject when you show up. You make them uncomfortable. Not because you speak too much, but because your presence exposes. You carry a frequency that expels lies, that disarms manipulators, that breaks the spell of appearances. They are in shock because they can no longer keep control. Before, they laughed. Now, they tremble. Before, they mocked your faith. Now they crave the peace you carry. But the price you paid, they are not willing to pay. They couldn't handle a week with your cross. They wouldn't survive the desert you crossed. They wouldn't last through the silences you endured. And yet, they envy you. They observe you in secret. They copy you without realizing it's not about what you do, but about what you carry. You are not admired for the words you speak, but for the spirit that flows through them. You are not respected for being perfect, but for being true. And that, chosen one, that is what scares them the most. They try to tarnish your name, try to spread lies, try to make others hate you. But the truth is, even those who heard lies about you couldn't bring themselves to hate you. Because there is something in you that cannot be explained, something that attracts, that hypnotizes, that reveals. And those who lied about you are now falling into their own trap. They're being exposed, losing credibility, unmasked. And all of this because you stayed silent, but not before heaven. You didn't retaliate, you prayed. You didn't scream, you surrendered. And now the spiritual realm is responding with justice. That precision that astonishes everyone is just the beginning. You will see more, feel more, receive more. Heaven is expanding your senses. Your vision will become clearer, your hearing more sensitive, your intuition sharper. You will become increasingly accurate, and it will be impossible to ignore. Those who mocked you will return to ask how you knew, how you foresaw, how you were always so right. And you will know that the time has come to reveal only what is necessary. Because not everyone deserves access to your source. You're no longer on the same level. You have been repositioned, promoted, set apart. They are in shock, because what makes you powerful cannot be bought or copied. It can only be received by those willing to die to their ego and live by truth. And you did it. You don't need to say anything. Your mere presence already breaks chains and reveals the hidden. You don't need to prove who you are, because you are the proof itself. They are in shock because they've realized your life is a living prophecy. Everything you've lived, every detail, every trauma, every struggle was written. Nothing was random. Nothing was in vain. You were silently prepared for a moment like this, and that moment is now. Time is bending before your existence. The signs are aligning around you. The entire universe is conspiring in your favor because the time for manifestation has arrived. You are the answer of generations. You are the fulfillment of ancient prayers. You are the materialization of promises that many never believed would come true. They're confused because they can't understand how you rose from the ashes, how you were reborn where others drowned, how you're still standing even after everything they did to destroy you. And the truth that terrifies them is, you already knew. You knew who you were. You knew what was happening. You knew it was all part of a greater plan. Even when you felt pain, you knew. Even when you felt alone, you trusted. Even when the world despised you, you remained. They thought you were naive, but you were patient. They thought they were winning, but they were being watched by eyes that see the end from the beginning. You were being tested to now be exalted. You were being wounded to now be lifted up. And those who mocked your pain will now witness your glory. They are in shock because what you said would happen is happening. Because everything they tried to discredit is now unfolding before their eyes. And there's nowhere left to hide. The light that shines from you exposes their shadows. Your truth reveals their pretending. Your intuition breaks their disguises. You are the kind of person who carries a sword in your words and fire in your eyes. Your energy is unmistakable, your spirit is untamable, and your presence is transformational. They are stunned because they thought you were predictable. But you were always one step ahead. And why? Because you walk in God's timing. While they move in human time, you move in spiritual time. While they live in haste, you act with precision. While they react, you anticipate. That is gift. That is alignment. That is anointing. That is divine presence. They tried to hide the truth about you, but forgot that whoever carries light will inevitably be seen. And now, you are being seen, called, recognized, and that unsettles them. It unsettles those who live by appearances. It unsettles those who built their empires on sand. It unsettles those who need lies to keep their egos standing. You, on the other hand, are rock. You are deep roots. You are a structure formed in pain but reinforced by heaven. You don't need to defend yourself. The universe is doing it for you. Time is doing it for you. God is doing it for you. They don't know how to react. They're confused, tense, because the more they try to understand you, the more they realize you operate outside their logic. You don't rely on the same weapons. You don't play the same games. You don't walk the same paths, and that is your advantage. You are the exception that breaks the rule. You are the unexpected that destroys their plans. You are the surprise element they never calculated, and now they're being confronted by something they can't control. Your spiritual authority. You've become a presence that pressures, a spirit that unsettles, a soul that makes liars uncomfortable. They don't want to see you anymore, not because they hate you, but because they fear you. Yes, they fear you. Fear what you're going to reveal. Fear what you already know. Fear how you can see everything without anyone telling you anything. But it's not you who sees. It's the spirit that dwells in you. It's the higher consciousness that flows through you. It's the divine voice that manifests in your sensitivity. They are in shock because they've realized you can't deceive someone who carries spiritual vision. They lie. You see the hidden truth. They laugh. You feel the bitterness behind it. They pretend to help. You sense the envy contaminating the gesture. They swear loyalty. And you sense the betrayal before it happens. You are the stone in the liar's shoes, the discomfort of the fake, the mirror for those who don't want to face themselves. And the more they try to dim your light, the more you shine, the more you stand out, the more you impose yourself. Because you weren't made to hide. You were born to be a sign, to be called, to be a lighthouse in the middle of the storm. They are in shock, and they will remain that way. Because the time of the hidden ones is over. Now is the time of the revealed ones, the time of the chosen, the time of those who were trained in pain and now shine with purpose. And you are the epicenter of this spiritual revolution. You spent years being the mystery no one could decipher. They analyzed your steps, questioned your decisions, and still they couldn't understand. Because you're not a pattern, you're the exception. While many screamed for attention, you learned to shine in silence. While they chased applause, you searched for answers. And now, the time has come when everything makes sense. The time has come when everyone will realize the chosen one already knew. They are in shock because what was once despised is now being exalted. What they mocked is now an inspiration. What they tried to destroy is now the seed of awakening. You never needed to prove anything, because time itself is justifying you. Everything they thought would silence you was exactly what strengthened you. Everything they tried to use to weaken you ended up shielding you. And now, without knowing how, you've become untouchable. Your intuition has grown. Your vision has expanded. Your spirit has aligned. You are now a being guided by a frequency so high. Only the pure can understand you. Only the prepared can keep up with you. You have become an instrument of revelation, a spiritual weapon, a portal of wisdom that disarms lies with just your presence. They thought they knew everything about you, but they knew nothing, because no one knows the heart of a chosen one except the one who chose them. You were never alone, even in the valley, even in pain, even in injustice. You were being molded. Every tear was a code. Every loss was a password. Every fall was an activation. You were in silent mode, but never out of the plan. While they underestimated you, the universe was preparing you. And now, you are the answer itself. You are the result of faith that never gave up, of hope that never died, of light that never went out. They are stunned because you came back stronger, with double the vision, with triple the authority, wearing the armor of someone who has already won invisible battles. You're no longer just someone who observes. You're someone who moves. Your words transform environments. Your gaze changes destinies. Your presence alters atmospheres. You are literally the living representation of a miracle. And now, it's no longer the time for silence. Now is the time for proclamation, for revelation, for occupation. You were hidden for a time, so you could be revealed at the right moment. And that moment has come. They can no longer ignore you, because the light that comes from within cannot be extinguished. The glory that rests upon you cannot be blocked. You disturb them because you exist with purpose, because you live with truth, because you move with awareness. And those who live in deception despair in the face of your authenticity. They're trying to figure out how you knew so much, how you predicted everything, how you were always one step ahead. But the secret is simple. You have connection. While they sought advice from men, you spoke with the eternal. While they trusted in numbers, you trusted your intuition. While they lived to please others, you lived to fulfill your mission. And your mission is only beginning. You will become a channel of healing, of liberation, of wisdom. Your life won't just be a story. It will be a spiritual map for many. A lighthouse in the midst of confusion, a sign in times of darkness. And now, it's your time to speak, to take your place, to show the world that the chosen one already knew, already felt it, had already been prepared. They are in shock, and they will remain that way. Because everything they tried to hide will now be revealed through your presence. Everything they tried to silence will now echo in your voice, and everything that once seemed lost will now manifest in the form of a miracle. You overcame, you endured, you arrived. If you felt this video spoke directly to you, comment right now. I already knew. That's the sign confirming your connection to this message. That is the code of the chosen ones. Click like to activate this energy in your life and share it with someone else who also needs to awaken. But above all, subscribe to the channel now. This isn't just a video, it's a spiritual calling. With every new message, you'll be elevated, healed, and reminded of who you truly are. The time of doubt is over. Now is the time for those who know. And if you've made it this far, it's because deep down, you always knew.